I want some info.
Here at Mississippi Comic Con again. It took 10,000 years to get through the queue, but we are here now, and today's topic is actually really unrelated to this. So I'm going to look for people dressed like Waluigi. I used to love Call of Duty, and I'm not just talking about the original Modern Warfare days when everybody loved COD. I mean, I was defending that series even after it became blamed for ruining the industry with its heavily copied military FPS stylings and multiplayer focus. I'm the guy who loved Modern Warfare 3 for God's sake. I've argued in the series' favour for its underrated story campaigns and, if you can believe it, less obnoxious business practices in a world that at that time was beset by increasingly obscene DLC shenanigans and misguided efforts to curb second-hand sales via the insidious online pass. Looking back, that seems quite funny, doesn't it? A time where Call of Duty could be praised or at least not criticised for scummy, contemptuous business practices. Even funnier? Many years ago, I asked an Activision representative exactly why Call of Duty wasn't jumping in on all the shitty money-making schemes like Electronic Arts and its ilk were at the time. His answer? We don't need to. The confident claim essentially said Call of Duty can just be Call of Duty and make a shit ton of money. It was a hell of a statement, and apparently it isn't true anymore. As each year passes, each Call of Duty gets successively worse. The series that once oozed self-confidence to the point where it wasn't desperately, embarrassingly clawing and gouging for as much money as possible from a dwindling number of people is now desperately, embarrassingly clawing for as much money as possible from a dwindling number of people. And it's just sad. It's sad and it's pathetic, but what's even more cringeworthy is the fact that millions of people are still buying Call of Duty. It's just the numbers have slipped a little bit, and it sent Activision Blizzard into a freefall of shameful cash grabs. Today's Call of Duty is a mangled mess, nothing but trend-chasing, liberty-taking, intellectually insulting and philosophically offensive hot, wet garbage. And the zenith of the overly produced, focus-tested, vapid filth ejaculated from Bobby Kotick's round pink nuts is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 perfectly encapsulates why Activision Blizzard is a bunch of snivelling, shit-slinging fuckbuckles who should shove their games up their asses and fuck off while they're doing it. First, let's look at what Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is. It's gone from being the market leader to just another market follower in the wake of an industry that's moving on without it. Where once it defined an entire genre of games and codified much of what we've come to expect from multiplayer titles, it's now playing catch-up with more successful entities, cynically shoveling a battle royale mode into the next COD. To see a series that once led ideas now crawling in the shadow of more innovative and interesting concepts is just fucking sad. Even worse, they took out the last bit of artistic originality Call of Duty had left, scrapping single player entirely to focus on an increasingly worn-out zombies mode, as well as a by now alienating and miserable multiplayer and the aforementioned follow the leader battle royale. This is on top of the fact it's been shuffling out after the Battlefield series with the exact same historical backdrops, going from World War I to World War II again, but doing so in Electronic Arts' wake, with frankly inferior games, which is the position EA itself was in back when COD was actually fucking worth something. Those who have played Black Ops 4 ahead of time make other comparisons to Battle Royale games in the multiplayer mode, while the specialists, barricades and live service plan for multiplayer show a willingness to ape Rainbow Six Siege, another game that surged to popularity while COD was languishing in mediocrity these past few creatively bankrupt years. But the bollock cherry on the dick cake is the overwhelming, maddening, legitimately unbelievable way in which Black Ops 4 plans to support itself financially, or rather expect you to support it financially, like it's the digital equivalent of Bunny Lebowski. Actually, given how much Blops 4 holds itself hostage, the bunny comparisons are right on fucking point. Let's dive deep into the murky money grubbing of Activision Blizzard, because I think detailing it all in one go is the only way to communicate exactly how absurd things have gotten. So first of all, the game still allegedly costs $60, but due to the $60 myth, you won't get anywhere close to the full game experience for that starter shell price. Naturally, there are several incrementally more expensive editions of the game, as well as the $60 starter pack. There's the Digital Deluxe Edition and the shitty merch-filled Pro Edition. Oh, and if Digital Deluxe isn't deluxe enough for you, there's a Digital Deluxe Enhanced Edition. Yes, that sounds faintly ridiculous, doesn't it? But sure, there's a more deluxe edition. Double the deluxe, because if Activision Blizzard doesn't have literally all of the money in the world, it don't have enough money. There's also the buy now obligatory season pass, aka a pre-order for the rest of the game, but here's a twist. While in prior years Activision Blizzard has sold the season pass separately for an exorbitant $50, this time they're making it exclusive to the expensive versions of the game. Unless you buy Black Ops 4 for at least $100, you will not get access to the season pass, which, incidentally, is where you can access the additional multiplayer maps as well as an entire zombies mode. You'll note COD pulled a similar trick with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered, where it was held hostage by expensive special editions of Infinite Warfare for as long as that shitty game made money. Encouraged by the success of that slimy tactic, Activision Blizzard is doing it again to make you pay more for your content. It's a sort of friendly, fun extortion. Either way, for those justifying microtransactions and other bullshit because it helps keep map packs free and doesn't split the community, Activision Blizzard's now confirmed it don't give no shits about splitting anything. They will do what works for any given game at any given time. It's not about you, it's not about the community, it's just about the quickest, easiest, cheapest way to rake in a couple extra pennies. Oh, and speaking of microtransactions, Activision's pretty much the last holdout for obscene loot box practices in the AAA space, as Warner Brothers quietly removed them from Shadow of War, Electronic Arts had to promise no more of them, and even Ubisoft veered away from touching the whole thing. The world's most shameless publisher still has plenty of them in its games, several of which demand premium upfront prices, with Overwatch of course providing the modern model of in-game gambling for gambling is what it is. As you might expect, Black Ops 4 shows no signs of stopping the casino cash flow, remaining committed to greed even as the worst companies in gaming back off. I fucking called it too, as per. Oh, and Call of Duty doesn't even have the just cosmetic excuse to back it up. Simply because it thinks its dick is too big to wilt, Activision Blizzard has steadily turned COD into a pay-to-win system, with not just skins, but active gameplay advantages tied to random crate winnings, like Battlefront 2, except Activision got away with it. Thanks to pay-to-win loot box bullshit happening in other games people care about, Call of Duty has avoided much of the scrutiny it deserves for basically vandalising COD in order to contrive cash. But what can we expect from a company that added microtransactions to a remaster and resold the old DLC for said remaster at a higher price? Because woe betide I not mention, again, that Activision did this with Modern Warfare Remastered, and like with Modern Warfare Rebastard, Activision Blizz is playing a nastier game than the immediate travesties of software we see. They're setting a vile precedent for how they'd like the business to be. Before Activision Blizzard mutated the concept, remasters were considered complete packages that combined all previous content into one in order to justify the expectation of a second purchase. Now? Well, Activision Blizzard has set an example for others to normalise. Remasters bound to collector's editions, with previous content sold separately at a premium and stuffed full of shiny new pay-to-win microtransactions. Activision Blizzard is clearly trying to change the very nature of the season pass by similarly tying it to a special edition, as well as using it as a sole means of distribution and support. Activision Blizzard looks set to train its audience into accepting this as the new normal, even though it's absurdly transparent in its aim to, as we said earlier, make more moolah off fewer people. Which is of course the aim of every short-sighted live service that paradoxically expects us to obsessively play one game which has a sequel every fucking year. But at least ActiBliz has put paid definitively to the idea that $60 is what a game costs. I said in an episode a while ago, that's a myth, fiction perpetuated by those who serve only corporate interests. The season pass long ago became the delivery method for a complete game, and now Activision is making said game exclusive to said pass. They're only being upfront about how the industry views season passes and DLC in general these days, and of course, how they see you as fucking idiots. So we didn't find Waluigi. All we did, I filmed this literally seconds after the intro, so he might be there, he might not. Anyway, I was going to do a whole spiel about how Activision makes plenty of money because they make more money off their microtransactions than they've made off of all of their games. Ever. Any game, ever. All of the games in the world combined make less money than one game of theirs with microtransactions in. That's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but you get the point. It's not about needing, it's about wanting. It's not need, it's greed. I just came up with that off the top of my head. Thank God for me. It's not Waluigi.